Good morning, everybody. Hello, welcome. I will say hello to all of you individually in a minute. I'm just getting the big screen on for people in real life.
Hello.
Yeah, say hello to your fans. See. Full screen projector view. That's it. That's it. There we go. Right, let's get some bird song on as well. Let's get the vibe going. It's beautiful. It's like hazily green, isn't it? I thought it'd be a nice one to look at. So good morning, Jilly. Good morning, Jean. Good morning, Susan from Gateshead. Hello. Morning, Mandy in Reading. Morning, Rosemary. Morning, Valerie from Ipswich. Morning, Joy. Where are you today, Joy, on your boat? Hi, Trish. Good morning, Sandra. It's telling me I've got more comments, but it won't show me them. Let me go through. So obviously, if I have a customer, I will have to nip down. Sue's in the classroom, so I'll get her to do a tap dance or something for you all.
I'll do a little rendition of Wind the Bobbin Up or something. You know,
Oh, that'd be perfect. Let me try and refresh my screen for a second, otherwise I'll have to check on my phone, I think, which I'll have to do. Well, I hope you're all right. As you can see, I've sketched my eye out. It's not my eye. I've got boring brown eyes.
So I think we're on about brown eye, Barry.
Well, no, this is true. Morning, Anne. Morning, Sandy. Morning, Elizabeth from Rugby. Hi, Kathy from Norfolk. Wendy from Sheffield. Roger from Cov. Hello. Morning, Liddy from France. Oh, how lovely. Hi, Janice. Lovely to have so many of you here.
From all over the place.
All over the world. We've gone global today.
I've just come over the bridge.
Yes. She's just from down the road.
Over the bridge.
So I thought I'd concentrate on one eye today in 45 minutes. I think... morning, Katya. I just thought it'd be easier to do that than try and do lots of eyes. Because actually, if you've done one eye, then it's just the same but the other eye, isn't it? There's lots of things to consider with the human eye. I've got suggested colours along the top of the screen of yellow ochre, ultramarine, crimson, cad yellow specifically because of this eye colour, burnt sienna and Payne's grey. Hi Sam from Northwich, hello, lovely to see you. They're from all over the UK.
Yeah,
And France as well. We've got a couple in from France, so as far as I can do, bonjour, ça va, that is it. Anybody from Wales today? Bore da, Shidachi? Look at me, how multinational I am.
Yeah,
You know,
multilingual.
multilingual. Anybody from the Black Country? Warrow, Binyua kid? Oh, you're in your car. On your way to Banners. To see us all. Well, that's lovely.
Who's that?
Joy, Boat Joy. She's not on a boat. She's car Joy now, but she's normally Boat Joy. Right. So I've sketched it out. I've tried not to do a huge amount of anything, and actually, I'm not going to use any masking fluid. At a push, I might use a gel pen, because if you look at the reference image, there's actually not a huge amount of white. Even the light in the eye is not white. There's slight little speckles in the lower part of the eye ball, but the eyeball isn't white. And often that's where we get a little bit... Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Jean from Wokingham in Berkshire. How lovely. I was only talking about Berkshire and Wokingham the other day. Because I get it confused with Woking in Surrey, which is where my relatives are from. Hi, Carol from Droitwich. Oh, I've got to be gentle with you on your first time with us, because I won't be. Oh, Bodadar, Anne. Right. We can look at flesh tones as well, which is why we've got lots of colours on the screen.
So if you did do that, like really white, the white of the eye, that would make it look like quite scary, wouldn't it?
It would. It would look scary, and I'd have to say, a bit more amateur or illustrative, cartoony. And we always talk about the whites of our eyes, don't we? So it's very easy for us to be lulled into that idea that eyeballs are white, whereas they're not. And also, by doing the eyeball off-white, it will make any white bits white, because what you don't want is, if you imagine all of this pink and then this green and that white, it wouldn't look quite finished.
It wouldn't look human either, really, particularly.
Oh, hello Naomi, lovely to see you yesterday. Yes, hello Denise from Bedford as well. Oh, how wonderful. Yes, it was lovely to see you all in the shop yesterday. How lovely. Oh, hi Brian from Hawaii. You're stopping up late, aren't you? What's that? It's nearly midnight where you are, isn't it? Are we like 10 hours behind you? Or in front of you? Because it's 11 o'clock here. I know it's sort of late in Hawaii.
I wouldn't know.
Morning, Janet.
Never been to Hawaii.
Well, we've definitely said we're spreading to Hawaii and
We've
France.
covered quite a lot of the globe,
Yeah, this is cool. I love it. So we'll look at the flesh tones now. Interestingly, the colours that I've got on the top of the screen will work with any flesh tone. It doesn't really matter what ethnicity. All of those colours will come in, and I have got a video somewhere on our, I think it's on our free learning zone on our website, on specific flesh tones that I've done. All from Leon C. Hello, Susan. Leon C. Ah. Well, so I'm just going to mix my squirrel, and we'll do a basic flesh tone to start with. Very light and loose. I might have to use a gel pen or gouache for some of the hair, but the eye is the important bit, isn't it? And I'm only wetting the paper, dampening it to prepare it, really. Because you're not overly watercolory, are you, Sue?
Not at the moment. I'm going to try and get back into it again. That's why I keep coming to these things, so that hopefully that it's going to
Inspire you.
push start me. Because I was going to have a go at that one with the boy in the wellies, but I still haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, Jean and I. Right, so I've just prepared the watercolour paper, so it's not overly wet. It just helped the colours spread a little bit and blend. I want to do a little bit of crimson. Oh no, Libby, it's pouring it down in London.
Oh.
It's gorgeous sunshine here in Banbury, same as yesterday, wasn't it? A little bit of yellow ochre. Tiny bit of burnt sienna. Yes, midnight in Hawaii. Hi, Dorian.
Was he hoping you're going to lull him to sleep with your dulcet tones?
Yeah.
Barry?
Probably will send you to sleep, won't I, Brian? Yes, actually, you can watch later. It will be on the Facebook page, and if it allows me to download it, because sometimes it doesn't, I'll put it on YouTube and our website as well. So here I am. You can see that's a really nice flesh tone, actually.
So to get, would you just change the proportions of the colours?
You do exactly, yeah. You'd, because I'm a ginge, so I'm more of a red complexion, whereas other Celtic complexions have more of an olive skin. So for me, I'd increase the crimson, whereas for an olive skin, you'd increase the ochre and burnt sienna. And for darker skin tones you'd increase the burnt sienna, but for shadows you'd probably want a bit of ultramarine in there. But there is more blue in our skin than we think about, so I'll do a few little streaks. So I've mixed up just enough. I might as well cover the whole page, because it's not just the eye that is something that we need to consider. It's the whole thing that's attached to the eye. You know, the skin around it is what will make the eye look more realistic. So I need to make up a little bit more of that, because we've got some darker tones.
You want to make it so it looks like set into the face rather than
Yes, exactly. It's got to feel believable. Now, I'm not doing a photograph of an eye. Now you can see that's a very, if I diluted that, that would be more like my skin tone. So that's less burnt sienna and yellow ochre. You could use burnt umber as well, but you see that's quite a nice darker skin tone. So I could probably very lightly while this is damp. I think I need a little bit more burnt sienna in there. You'll know if it's too pink because it will show up as too pink. And that's a little bit too pink. So this is soft, and I know I'll probably get the hairdryer on this. The light is coming from the left. And because it's watercolour, we should be able to blend in a little bit. And then there's a bit of a shadow from the nose there. Which I want to fade out as well. And this area of the cheek is a little bit dark. It looks very odd, doesn't it? Will it look any better than this? Sometimes I do these demos and all the time in my head it's like, why? Why have I said I'd do this live? A lot of pressure, you see.
You just like to live on the edge, don't you?
Well, I don't know, this is the problem, but then I read a lot of things about how most arty people tend to create their own drama because they feel in order to be creative they have to have...
Oh, okay. You can't have an easy life.
No. And I know a lot of artists that do that, and I'm starting to think maybe I actually do it myself. Oh, this, Elizabeth, good question. Sorry, I forgot to say, this is my number 2 squirrel. You know I'm obsessed with my squirrel. But you can see how that alone has helped just tint a little. So it's constantly looking for darks and lights. Now I won't mention any names because I can't remember them anyway. But I was looking at Instagram yesterday, and you know, a lot of people want to try doing eyes and portraits and things, and the big area that people get confused on is eyelashes, and they draw them or paint them like they're stuck on under the eye, but actually you can see here that there's a ridge on the lower lid, then the eyelashes, and it's exactly the same for the top. Because if you think about it, if we had our eyelashes underneath the lid, it would be really itchy all the time, wouldn't it? Oh, Jackie, thank you very much as well. Jackie's online commenting and dealing with inquiries. You're an angel. I know we take the mickey out. I say we take the mickey. I take the mickey out of her. But I would be like, no, they all take the mickey out of me. It's me that takes the mickey out of Jackie. But I would be absolutely lost without her. So I should be nice sometimes, I suppose. Right, I'm going to get the hairdryer on that. Yeah. Well, there would be a lot of concern, I think. Now, don't forget, watercolours dry 30% lighter. Which reminds me, I've got to do the competition. That's not a bad flesh tone. I mean, my hand's a lot darker, but that's because I've got ginger fur. So if we were going to do the skin around it, so I thought we'd do a little bit of the flesh first and then work on the eye, just because it's a bit easier. I'm going to switch to my number 4 round, increase the burnt sienna, and add a small amount of ultramarine, which will make it darker. But still within the grey. And with that, you see, we can just start to create a little bit of dark for the upper lid, because it is a lot darker on here than you think. And you all know, my regular students know, I'm obsessed with contrast of light and dark because it makes such a difference.
And would you always start with round the eye? You wouldn't go straight into the eye?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. I tend to like to get the eye out the way if I'm doing a whole face. because I feel a little bit more confident then that the rest of the thing is going to go, because the eyes are the windows of the soul, they say, don't they? So since this is just an eye, I'm not really that bothered. And it doesn't have to look like a specific animal or person. I'm aiming for human. Not even worried about the gender at this point. So there's a slight dark bit there. You see, what you could do if you were going to spend a good amount of time on this, you could where all the little highlights on the skin to create the patination is, you could do that with a gel pen afterwards. So there is such a lot you can do to get the depth, but you can see that it's already starting to look a little bit more three-dimensional. Oh, I've missed the gingiva. Yes, Elizabeth. Oh, Samantha, I'm glad you love the new colour mixing book. Good. Jackie's the one that adds the tea to the deliveries. We try to make each delivery special as a thank you for supporting us. Maybe one day I'll be rich enough to make my own rocket. Can you imagine me in a rocket?
No.
No. A rocking chair? Maybe one day I'll be rich enough to buy a rocking chair.
You in your sort of like tweedy suit.
And a helmet. A tweed space helmet. And then a video of my pocket watch just floating across. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not built for space, really. Just softening some of that up there. So you can see how it's working. But I'm really pleased that you like the colour mixing book. I would have to sell a lot of watercolour paper. By the way, we've still got free postage and packaging online to mainland UK. No minimum spend. If you want to help me get a rocket. Maybe, you know what, in lockdown I had a tea fund. Maybe I'll have
Let's all work
build a rocket spun. Yes, we could. We could develop the artery space program. And I could teach zero gravity art classes. Right, so we're building that up a little. I may not do much more with this because of time for now, but hopefully you can see how it's working, because what you need to think about is that the lid is a fold. So when you think of wrinkles, I always also think of fabric, because fabric and wrinkles are basically the same, it's just a different media. So where the eyelid is creased, it actually shades out towards the eyelid front rather than from the eyelid up, unless you've got very deep set eyes. Something like that. A space theme class. Oh, Samantha, we did. Thank you, Elizabeth. I try to teach through humour, because I find without, you don't often realise you've learned something until you finish.
learning through play. That's what it is.
You know, when I was in primary education, they all kept telling me I'd be better off in early years, but I don't know if they just meant that was because it was my personality, or just I couldn't. Yeah, well, exactly. Because I ended up with year 5 and year 6, but you can have a good laugh and a joke with them, or shout at them, as was needed often. But I don't know. My ex-wife is an early years specialist, so maybe I should have gone in there. I've added a little bit more crimson for this bit. It's not perfectly pink because it's quite dark and in recess. I'm leaving a little bit of white paper there as a highlight, and I'll go a little bit darker. So you may realise I'm avoiding doing the actual eye.
That's why I asked about, whether you do the outside first and then,
No, in real life, where there's no cameras and not people from all over the world, I'll have done the eye first. But I'm building myself up. I don't know why I'm adding to my own pressure. Something like that. Right. Now, we have got Payne's Grey that I will introduce now for the white of the eye. But I want to add a little bit more ultramarine into it. Payne's Grey, don't forget, is ultramarine and Mars Black traditionally. Sometimes it can be a bit too harsh. And the Payne's Grey will also be present in the pupil, the iris and the eyelashes. So it is going to be there. If I wasn't going to do that, I'd probably mix a grey up from ultramarine and burnt sienna on its own. Splashing in zero gravity. Oh yes, think of spattering in zero gravity. You should see my desk, Janet. At the best of times, it looks like Mr. Tumbles had a sneezing fit. Right, so I'm going darker under the lid with this grey. Still with the number 4, and I'm only using the number 4 to help with the control. And then I'm adding more water as I get towards the lower part of the eye. And you can see it's actually darker, much darker on there. It's not until you start looking that you really see, because it's one of those things that we all know what eyes look like because we've got them ourselves, you know.
I mean, like all those little, I don't know what you call them, the lines in the iris of that eye.
Yeah.
You know, it's not all one colour, is it? It's just...
No, there's so many flecks, and in fact, it's very radial the way that works. It's like a gemstone, like a tiger's eye stone.
Yeah.
Go with a little bit more Payne's Grey.
Amazing, really.
Bit more Payne's Grey down there. Now I know that it will dry lighter, so I'm not overly concerned yet.
I think that's why I still struggle with watercolours. It's this, I know you go on about it so often, so I shouldn't really, but the whole 30% lighter, I struggle with that going.
It's difficult,
dark.
Sue. It's difficult because it's counterintuitive to what you're... Even when... Because you've worked in schools, the squeezy paint don't matter. There's no colour shift.
No.
You can shove any colour on anything. And that's perfect for teaching little ones.
You're putting on is going to stay the same, whereas,
Yeah. It is, and also you don't know if the colour's going to granulate, which I like granulating, but that's when the colour mix pulls apart slightly, so you can see little flicks of the other colour. Just darkening.
It's a bit more adventurous.
It's scary though. It's scary to be adventurous. Something like that. I'm not going to go too dark just yet, because I might need to make this even darker. Might throw a little bit of it just right in here. By going a little bit darker, it may help, but I won't know until the rest of the eye is in place. But you can see that's looking a little bit more 3D, isn't it, now than it was before. I might now just balance up a little bit of darker tone here. What you may do as a painting is it's very easy to either make somebody look a lot younger because you're frightened to put the wrinkles in, or make somebody look a lot older because you're slap happy with your wrinkles. So it's a really interesting way of working to know, how far should I enhance that? And it's a little bit pinky around there, so I will look at that shortly. I need that lid.
It's going to be interesting because we're doing a portrait in drawing, aren't we, in a couple
Yeah.
of weeks?
Well,
The difference is when you do it with
in pencil, and also the difference when you're doing a full portrait is the eye. Oh gosh, that's a bit crimson. The eyes are only part of the face, whereas when we're doing an eye, slightly a bit easier,
you haven't got to fit it in with anything else.
and it hasn't got to look like anybody. We did a lesson a good few years ago, and all we did was paint 4 different eyes like a baby's eyes, a young adult's eyes, and an older person's eyes, just to see if you could tell that the child's eyes were childlike, because obviously your eyes don't grow. They are the same from birth.
They've got such big eyes half the time, isn't it?
Denise, you'd be welcome. Just don't come on a Sunday or Monday because nobody's here.
We did animal eyes in drawing, didn't
Yes,
we?
we did a few different animal eyes, didn't we? And I think it's just really fascinating to see how it works. So I'm going to go, if I switch to my squirrel for the time being, and I'm going to get some cadmium yellow and a small amount of ultramarine to start with. Have you noticed, and I shouldn't really say it out loud, but we haven't got, since I've stopped promoting it as free, we don't get the spammers in. They must trawl, the bots must trawl looking for the word free. So most of our things are free, apart from our paid classes, obviously, and then we've got our summer art club, which is for all ages, geared towards younger people or more crafty book. My colour mixing book, it's called Simple Start Colour Mixing Companion, and it's £6. You can buy it as a book or off Kindle. It's available on Amazon if you want, or you can buy it directly from us. And it's about 50 pages of looking at the science of colour mixing, because I tend to use just 8 colours in my work. And yeah, it's about looking at, there's some colour charts, how we see colour, how colours are made. So cadmium yellow, for example, is a orange yellow, whereas lemon yellow is a green yellow. And once you start understanding the leaning of each colour, it makes life so much easier. So if you want a bright green, you mix the greeny blue and the greeny yellow together, because they've both got green in them. If you want a dark green or a dull green, you mix the yellow that hasn't got yellow in and the blue that hasn't got green in, or the yellow that hasn't got green in, rather. So the yellow is an orange yellow and the blue is a purple blue, because there are no pure colours in paint. There's a lengthy scientific explanation for it, but I haven't got enough time today, and it can be boring if you're not scienty. But basically, we know, I've added a bit more blue now to get some more green. We know that there can't be much in the way of pure paint, because every time we mix a colour, we get a colour mix. If there was a pure blue and a pure yellow mixed together, you'd get black, because they'd reflect all of and absorb all of the other colours. But since we get green, we know therefore that there can't be a pure yellow and a pure blue. And even those colours that are called primary aren't primary. Primary yellow tends to be more of a green base. Primary red tends to be more of a purple base. And primary blue tends to be more green based. If you think about printing on your computer, that kind of thing. See, we're starting to get, it's still damp, so I've got some nice subtle variations in this.
You make colours normally,
yeah.
Is that in that colour mixing book?
Yes. Yeah, it's in the list. It's basically it's started to be taught since the 80s, but the Victorians knew about it, and the Pre-Raphaelites and the Renaissance artists used them, but didn't necessarily understand the science why. But sometimes it's called the split primary system. So instead of one red, one yellow, one blue, you have 2 reds, 2 yellows, 2 blues, so that's your 6 colours, and an earth tone. But we are in the process of making our own paint.
Oh, yeah, your shadow paint.
Yeah, there's been a huge hold up on the pigment, and they sent me the wrong one and I didn't realise, and I've made paint that I don't really want. So I've got to almost start again, but I will quickly give you it's not available yet. And there are gaps in here and some aren't going to be. But there will be soon, for about £30, Barry's paint box.
Oh, lovely.
And it's got a little thumb hole and then the colour underneath. And then we've got handmade watercolours by me. My 8 plus 3 greens and a shadow colour. And on the bottom of each one, it will tell you the colour, the chemical compound, the light fastness, and how opaque it is. So you'll know which is which. So we've got that. They're not ready yet, so don't try order it. But their greens and shadow colour will also be available individually. But they take about 4 weeks to dry because we air dry them rather than bake them. So it takes a while.
That's really, where you've done that now, when you did that grey in the eye.
Doesn't look grey now,
No,
does it?
doesn't.
And the reason why is because there's hardly any white in this picture. So the grey becomes the lightest colour. And it will look even lighter when the iris goes, or the pupil goes in. It's fascinating, isn't it, really? I might throw in a little bit of yellow ochre now into there. Ah, well, if he's a printer, then he will know. And it is a lot more technical, Jackie, you're right, than what we do. But it's interesting just to see the makeup of paint and how we see paint. Because you might think, do you remember years ago there was that, what colour's that dress? Is it blue and gold or pink and...
trainers as well, didn't
Yes. And I've seen another with flip-flops recently. And it all depends on light. And also how we perceive the colour. But with the 8 colours that I use, you can mix 2,000 to 3,000 colour mixes, which is phenomenal.
Well, I was confused when I got my first little watercolours years ago. A little travel one. It didn't have white in it because I was like,
Yeah.
why haven't we got white? Why is,
Yeah.
and that sort of like, how do I mix anything if I haven't got white?
Yeah, well, this is it. You see, in acrylics and oils, you're using white as the main substance, but because of the transparency of watercolour, that's not to say that opaque watercolours are illegal, but because of the transparency of watercolour, generally you use the white of the paper to make the light colours. So like red diluted gives you pink. And cadmium red will give you a different pink to crimson diluted. I've added just a little bit more blue in there, so we're going a little bit darker around the edge. Time is just so fast.
It always goes fast when you're enjoying yourself, Bernie.
Well, I do enjoy myself, you know. I might moan a lot, but
I've missed this. I used to do this a lot, coming on Saturday morning and then going
You
to my
did.
shopping, and yeah, it's just a lovely way to start your Saturday.
yeah, it just makes a difference, doesn't it? Let's do a few flecks. So in an ideal world, you could keep this damp and keep dropping it in damp, and it would give subtle lines and spreads. You also want to make sure the top of the eye, and we'll be adding shadow afterwards, because the eyelid fits over the eye ball. So you can see the way my fingers over there is casting a shadow. So it will cast a shadow even stronger over that. Now, I'm actually going to...
It's like a kiwi fruit.
It does look like a kiwi fruit. I'm just going to lift out with a clean damp number 4 brush a little bit of the colour to make it a little bit more reflective. Now I could drop in a tiny weeny bit of ultramarine
Yeah, it's sort of like a little bluey reflection in there, isn't
just
it?
to make it feel like there's a light in there. See how that goes? But there's so many components to eyes and faces that it can be really difficult, especially when you're working on a smaller scale. And as humans, we tend to go small when something's complicated, when really we should be going big. Because doing an eye this size, an eyelash is a brush width, whereas if we try to do it eye size, it's really hard to do. Let me just get the hairdryer on this. I might use a gel pen for some highlights as well. And obviously taking your time is better. You know, there's 62 of you, that's 63 of you. That's so lovely to have all of you here. I'm having to read your comments. Yeah, we wouldn't have fitted you all in. I've only got 8 chairs. I'd have to have you in the cafe. Right, I'm using Payne's Grey. I tend not to use black in watercolour, but I do use it in acrylics. Because I use it as more of an underpainting in acrylics. Wow. So that may need more... another coat over that, but it's just about it's all
completely changed it again, hasn't it?
It has. It looks like a different thing altogether. Make it feel a bit more rounded. Now obviously if I was going to do this, I was going to say in real life, but clearly I'm doing it in real life, but as a commission, I would not be doing it in 45 minutes. I'll probably do it in about 55. No, I'd take my time and let it dry naturally, and let it build up slowly. Oh, hello, Elizabeth. Thank you. It's getting there, isn't it? Now, don't forget we said we want that. There is a broad shadow over the eye there. And I will extend it like that. Now that feels like there's a little bit more going on. And if you notice, now I'm adding the darks. Even that triangle of light in the eye that was blue looks lighter. Yeah. And we'll still go in with some darker flecks. Have you ever seen a close-up of an eye muscle?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. It looks like an alien eye because that isn't a circle, and all of these little lines. So the darker flecks are actually the gaps in between. All of your iris is like a muscle contracting. So when it's opening your iris, your pupil rather, it like springs apart. It's Google, if you're queasy, don't look at it, but Google close-up of a human eye and it is absolutely,
I'm not very good with eyes normally, but I'm
stunning. Right, so we've got a darker line going through that, another line going through that, and we can also see reflected in the eye eyelashes.
It's just reminded me of that thing in the Vicar of Dibley. Do you remember when they were doing the window and they haven't got a picture of it, and one of them shows them a picture of their dog and he says, yeah, but you can see the reflection
Yes.
of the window.
I think it was a wonderful exhibition with people had done portraits of old people, and I think the reflection in their eye was them when they were younger.
Okay.
And what they did.
Yeah, things from their life.
It's very powerful. Very powerful. Right, so I'm going to switch to my little thin number 1 round because we need to put some eyelashes on, and because it's 11:41. I didn't start painting until about 10 past. However, I can't really oh, that's the Jesus man on his guitar. He usually sings The Whole World in His Hands.
He's coming down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In his hands, he's got the whole world in his hands. Oh, lovely.
I think we've got this the Lighthouse Church or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Singing around by the bandstand as well today.
Oh, nice.
So whether they're doing that gospel-y stuff, I think they're just setting up when they came round.
So I'm leaving a bit of gap and flicking up. Now, if you look at the eyelashes, they're almost the whole, some of them are the whole height of the eyelid. I wish you'd move to the next verse though, because for 6 weeks he's only sang verse number 1. I mean, bless him for trying, but a chord change would be quite nice also.
Or maybe a little bit of All Things Bright and Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Or, not Kumbaya. Trying to think of the ones in Assembly that I used to sing.
Jesus wasn't for a Sunday.
Yeah. Peace, Perfect Peace. That was a nice one. But I've always had a deep voice, so they never really worked for me, school hymns.
I've always had a terrible voice, so they never worked for me.
Because this is all very much
And this is just, what is that colour?
Payne's Grey, just Payne's Grey. And we don't have what, and again, people presume that we have just one row of eyelash. So if you're here for your first time, I hope you're enjoying yourselves. We tried to make it as entertaining as possible and informative, and we even do some art.
I know when my daughter was born, I was mesmerised, obviously, and looking at her eyelashes, and she had, like, you know, there's definitely 2 rows of eyelashes.
Yeah, well, you can see on this side there's almost 3 or 4 layers.
And I've never really looked at them that closely before.
But you know, we don't look. When we're looking in the mirror at ourselves, we tend to try not to look, don't we?
Knock
So we're
yourself in the eye.
exactly we're aware that we've got eyes, but we really try to avoid looking too scrutinously, if that's a word. It is now.
But, you know, when it's your first baby, and it's just like, you know,
Yeah.
you're just gobsmacked by the whole thing. You notice a lot of things that you wouldn't.
I haven't had children, but I've had puppies, and I not personally. I've never given birth to a puppy. That's a different rumor. But I yeah, you do tend to just absorb them, don't you? Because I'm not a baby person. I mean, I've got 7 or 8 nephews and nieces, and 7 or 8 great nephews and nieces, but I've always geared towards them once they're about 2 or 3.
Well, I was always like that before. Once you can have a conversation with them, that was.
Yeah, maybe if I had some, I'd feel differently, but I don't know if I would. Getting a bit too old now.
Oh, wow, well, no.
I'd have to find
Dad
some.
has just had another one not that long
Yeah,
ago,
but the
didn't
thing, my parents were older parents, and I don't want to get worn out kicking a football, you know. So if you notice, leaving that gap, that's what's going to make it work well. If you haven't got a white gel pen, you can always use white gouache. I would avoid white watercolour for the simple fact that it's not opaque enough unless you're buying the high quality titanium white. Because you all made me sing at the last demo, didn't you? Not demo, the last watercolour class, Child on a Beach. I won't be doing that today. We've had live entertainment now.
Any excuse
I know. I enjoy it. I can't help it. I just enjoy it. So some of them are going to look shorter because they're towards us. It's like if you look at my fingers that way, they don't look like fingers, do they? You know, so if you imagine,
Yeah, you're looking at them head back
yeah,
kind of thing.
that you've got foreshortening. Maybe go. I'll change some of this a little bit, but hasn't that changed everything already?
You've got a lot more depth now. With
Yeah.
that, haven't you?
So if I go in with the Payne's grey and a bit of crimson, for the inside of the eye, because I said to you, didn't I, that I might have to darken part of it a little bit more.
I'm just amazed that you've done that in what, less than 45 minutes. You've got that, and you've been talking at the same time.
But you know, actually, the talking helps because it means that I'm not fully overthinking
Okay, yeah.
or concentrating. And it means my things are going to be more natural
Yeah, more natural flow because you're not.
because I'm not worrying about it and thinking, oh, this isn't a thing, this isn't what it should be, or this is it, and what have you. But also, it's having that plan to start with. Let's go with a bit of burnt sienna. Oh, Kathy.
Eyelashes, they're beautiful.
Kathy says she loves my singing. You can come again, Kathy. Thank you. Right, if I go with a bit of burnt sienna and Payne's grey. Well, that's it. People can mute me. There's a reason why I live alone.
Those top eyelashes are lovely, though. They're really.
Thank you. You see, it does help to actually be following some guidelines of where things are, because often you'll see that people will forget where the eyebrow is, and they'll do them too low. Maybe let's go with a little bit of yellow. Oh, I've got quite a few people in the shop, but they look like they're browsing, so hopefully I can finish this because we're running out of time. A rigger would be, let me switch to a rigger because that'll be slightly quicker. Rigger, long, thin, wobbly, holds more paint. So this is yellow ochre. And there will be a lot more dark. I could just go in with a bit of yellow ochre here, just to fill that bit in. Be a bit more shade underneath. So where you want lighter hair, obviously I would have been better off masking fluid or something to make it lighter to stand out, but then my darks aren't that dark, and as I'm going there I can see that that is much darker down here than I've added. So I'm using my squirrel again. Little bit of dark just underneath the hairline there, a shadow. Get my gel pen out. Hopefully I haven't broken this one, because I do tend to break them. I break them by going in too soon. See, I think the white of the eye needs to be even darker, but
It's very bright now, isn't it? So when you say you've broken your gel pen by going soon, you mean when it's still wet?
yes, while it's still damp, and then it clogs your end up, and nobody really wants a clogged end. So it just helps. It helps it feel reflected and reflective. Oh, I am going to have to go down. I'll be back in 1 minute. Entertain yourself. I'll try never help. Hello, Christine. How are you? Not too bad, Christine. It has indeed. Mhm. Yes. I think there should be a space at the bottom for you to enter the code somewhere, like apply coupon or apply discount code or something. You found it? Okay. We are open till 4 o'clock. Okay, lovely. Alright, thank you very much. Thanks, bye-bye. Bye. So we go in and I have 7 people in the shop. Sorry about that, everybody, I'm back. Oh. Well, this is it. It's all about different depths, and I want to go a little bit darker still. I'll go in with this sort of darker tone and a bit more burnt sienna, and then we will finish, but obviously it's a little bit difficult to... Generally, we're very dead on a Saturday. Oh, that's too... See, the crimson I've got is very, very strong, and it's so easy just to make it too dark or too bright, but that needs to be much, much darker. It's all about building up the depths. And I've put the eyelashes on, which isn't necessarily ideal. So this should hopefully start to make negative space. And I know a lot of you don't like negative painting, but it's really essential to how hair works, because it is all negative. I won't do much with the hair, because obviously today's demo is eyes, not hair. But can you see how that has brought everything forward? But I might have to go a little bit darker down here. So as long as you're not too heavy-handed with the watercolours, you can still go over parts of it and blend it in. I'm using colours that are non-staining. Well, we are watching paint dry, I suppose. Yes, that's the whole purpose of today. Build it up slowly, but I probably won't do much more. Let's go a little bit darker there. Soften and fade out. Depends on the style that you want to create more than anything. Because clearly there would be a nose there that we're not putting in. And that's a little bit darker there. And like I said at the very beginning, it's very hard to know where or how much to put your darks in until you've started building up the sequence of it all. But I think maybe there's a few little hints of lighter tones just in the eye. I don't know, but you can make that green eye possibly a little bit darker in places. I don't know, it seems a slightly darker green. So if I mix Payne's grey... Oh, well, thank you. It probably looks even better. She took a look from the other side of the kitchen and it looks amazeballs. Well, I can tell you with the lights off, it looks even better. Facing the other direction. Because you want to make this feel three-dimensional, you see. And a curve. If I slightly darken around the lighter patches... Something like that, I don't know. I think that looks alright, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Just throw things everywhere. If I quickly mix a bit of yellow ochre and burnt sienna together for a darker brown. But thank you for that. That's a lovely comment and compliment. It's not what I would... 45 minutes is a very quick time to do any work.
Oh,
But it gives you a good idea. So later this month we've got another free class, a full-on class, the end of the month, 23rd I think. I will double check.
looking at when you
And that's a gouache lesson, and we're painting Fly Garrick toadstools. So that's Saturday the 21st of August at 11 o'clock. That's a full-length painting class. And the next free demo is the 4th of September, and that's also gouache, and that's getting realistic fruit using gouache. So there's quite a lot of interesting things to look at. So if I was going to do a lighter hair on there, I'd use the white gel pen just to flick it in and across as a highlight, but I can't do that because it's too wet. But you can see how it really does bring it together. I'd probably spend another hour or two. It is a bit darker around the pupil, you're right. I hadn't spotted that. So let's go in with that Payne's Grey and Cad yellow mix. Flick it out, don't have it just going as a big stripe. There we go, look at that, makes a huge difference. Is the white of the eye too white on that side, do we think? Could we go a little bit darker if I went with Payne's Grey and burnt sienna? This is where you start to get in the realms of the just adder. See, that is a lot lighter on that side, but we'll still use a little bit of this to match it up. So this is Payne's Grey burnt sienna. Quick blast with the hairdryer and then we'll call it a day. So you can see now that the white highlights are much brighter than they were before, and that's to get your lights lighter you need to make your darks darker, and there is no white paper now in the whole of that page, and so what is lighter stands out more, and I think that looks alright. I will take a photograph of it and then post it in the comments here underneath, because you can't post pictures in the comments at the time being. And if you do it, I'd love to see what you do. See, I'd probably want to darken that lid a little bit more on that side, do you think? But I can't now the eyelashes are on, unless I redo the eyelashes, so I might fiddle with it in a bit and see how you get on. But hopefully,
to look exactly like the picture, doesn't it? Or whether,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm glad. Nice comments for this. So thank you very much for enjoying it. It's been lovely to have a real life person with me for the first time in 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're real life, aren't you?
I try.
So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. And thank you for your company today. It's been so lovely to have you with me, doing some arty stuff. If I were to fiddle, I'd darken that bit and darken the shadow within cast by the hair. Maybe I'll add a little bit more to it afterwards, who knows. But take care, have a wonderful weekend and stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye everybody, bye bye.